Hello, my name's Ian Austin, and this is the last ever Friday Night Shudder. And it's coming off another very successful podcast special. So, the last episode of this season will be kicking off in just a few seconds after the familiar tune of Buddy Holly. If you're on Anchor, if you're not, just imagine that some Buddy Holly by Weezer playing. Okay, see you in a sec. Yes, it's true. Friday Night Shudder is ceasing to exist after this episode, but luckily it'll be replaced, or relaunched rather, as Friday Night Fright next Friday, so you won't miss any week's content. It's just, as I explained in a couple of the other episodes, I just feel like it's time to move on to broad spectrum horror. That's something I'll get towards at the end of the episode. It's going to be a bit of a different episode to usual. First thing I really want to do is spend a few minutes talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street, because I didn't actually discuss what I thought of the movie overall in the podcast special, so I thought it'd be nice to do it over here. I love it. I think it's a great movie. I unironically think it's one of the best horror movies ever made, especially with that slasher route in the 80s. I think Halloween, Friday on Elm Street, and I would say possibly Child's Play and Hellraiser. They all had good first movies, but this was one that just hit out block for me first time around. This and Halloween, but particularly because based on the 80s horror movies that were like slasher orientated, this is by far the best. Freddy Krueger's so iconic that Rob Englund played the role again last year, I think, in a sitcom called The Goldbergs, which I've seen and which I will be mentioning at some point in the later episodes. And he did such a good job, and he's iconic. Like, they did Freddy Krueger homage on Simpsons, and that was cutting edge, like, pop culture at the time. And also the fact that Freddy Krueger's movies have sort of fallen into cultural zeitgeist a bit between the point of when it stopped being quite as known, I guess, in Simpsons. So the fact they put reference in there is quite suggestive of how cool it is. It's in Treehouse Horror episode, and it also did reference in Shining in the same episode, so I think that says a lot. South Park, he's in episode of South Park not too long ago. They did an Inception thing, and he was in it, so that's quite cool. And incidentally, that's part of what I'm going to be doing in this episode. I'm going to be spitballing some of my ideas for I'm going to be making up a movie for a Freddy Krueger sequel, if you will. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I just want to spend a few minutes talking about it. It's such a formative horror movie, and I didn't see it until I was at university. We had this cool thing at the time called LimeWire, which is like a file sharing thing, and that's how I first saw Nightmare on Elm Street. First time I saw it, I wasn't too enamoured by it. I thought it was good, but I thought it was also kind of silly. But as I've gotten older, I sort of embraced the fact that you're meant to think that. Freddy Krueger's a ridiculous character in a lot of ways. Very scary, but very ridiculous in more of the villains, I said in the review. There's a lot of choices there were designed by Rob Englund, I'm sure. But he added a touch of surrealism and absurdity to the character, to the nature of his runs and things like that. He's not terrifying as a physical specimen, although makeup's quite disgusting. He's terrifying because of speed or anything like that. He's terrifying because he literally controls the dreams. And he's also a slight goofy character. Imagine that's how Freddy Krueger was in real life. And it sort of plays off on how he is after death. And especially compared to characters like Jason and Mike Myers, who were very much like silent killers, I guess you could say. Frey a bit more personality to him, and that will come out more with stuff like Child's Play and Hellraiser. The sequels with Pinhead more of Hellraiser, to be honest, but Chucky Child's Play is the same way. You take the idea of this man who's evil in life and make him something worse in death, but then they amp up characteristics from life, and it creates this really interesting effect. And it's one of the reasons I'd love to see Chucky and Freddy in a movie together, because I think they play off each other brilliantly. But it's a really good movie. It's a really good performance. And don't think you can sleep on how good Heather Langenkamp is as Nancy. I mean, John Saxon does a lot of the lifting of the movie in terms of gravitas, but she is a star from making. And it's really telling that the best Nightmare on Elm Street movies are ones with her in them. I think that's quite suggestive. And the idea of having a sequel with her bring her back, do a Nightmare on Elm Street sequel like Halloween. That'd be fantastic. I think reeling right hands. Shame Wes Craven's not around, to unofficially complete his trilogy. I know he's involved with the third one in a way, but it would be great to have 3 written and directed by Wes Craven Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But there you go. Anyway, just a little wrap up my thoughts on it. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, hopefully I didn't put you off with the review, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm pumped for next year. It's the second one is not as good a movie, but it's one of the most fun movies I've ever seen, and I know I keep saying this, I'm gonna try and wrangle some co-hosts for that one because it's magical, which might mean it's recorded a lot out of sequence. It might be recorded early next year. Probably will be recorded early next year, but that's neither here nor there. It'll definitely be ready, and I think you'll enjoy that one more. And I just want to guarantee you guys, I have a plan to get through all of the movies, but at very least it's year by year. So at very least, I'll do Halloween 2 and Nightmare on Elm Street 2. They're my guarantees. And we'll have a few more specials throughout next year's way. Anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to make up a movie, because it's the season finale and some way series finale. So I'll be back in a second. So this Let's Make Up movie is called Garden. It's a bit different to last ones. This is an idea I've had in my mind for a while, and I'm just going to expunge on some details for you. Now, so essentially this movie is set in 2019, let's say. The present day as of next year. It's obviously not going to be made, but if it was going to be made, it would be made now, and it would be coming out next year. So it starts in January 2019, and we're at the first ever FreddyCon, which is a convention for Freddy Krueger and all of his exploits. It's kind of a small scale local town thing. Let's say it's based in, Aylesbury, where I grew up. So it's at the Aylesbury Gutman Sports Centre, their hall. It's a very small event, but people over the way are there. And they're discussing the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Because in this universe, the movies exist. It's kind of like our universe, not really. And there's these two people walking around, rather. There's Gemma, who's a bobbly sort of bohemian type. And there's, that's Gemma Barr. And there's Ronnie Ack. And Ronnie Ack is basically, he's a soldier who's having a bit of a tough time at the moment. And Gemma's also a soldier. And they're just sort of hanging out, and she's showing him around, and he's very upset. And we flash back to the previous evening where he was in a French restaurant with soft lighting. And he asked a woman named Vachon to marry him. And yeah, it went a bit awkwardly. She went to the bathroom, and the French waiter, Monsieur Marseille, walked over, and him and Ronnie were in on the proposal. He was trying to get Ronnie to speed up, and Ronnie was like, it's not the right time, it's not the right time. So Monsieur Marseille was like, well, when is the right time? Which hit Ronnie like Path Rex. And then so Ronnie decided when Vachon's back from the bathroom, he would propose there and then. In the bathroom, Vachon was doing a lot of coke, very much coke, and sort of very dazed and confused, almost going to fight for the hand dryer. So she storms out the bathroom, cursing up a storm, walks over to the table, and Ronnie proposes. And there's a moment where everyone in the restaurant turns and looks at Ronnie, so like, is this going to happen? Is Vachon going to say yes? And she says, fuck no. And it's silent. And then she says, but I would like my Coke. And he passes the Coca-Cola over to her, and she's like, no, my fucking Coke, my snowflake, baby, not my snowflake. So they get into an argument which turns quite verbal, and Ronnie's just trying to defuse the situation. The police are called, and Ronnie tries to defuse the situation some more, but it's not really working because Vachon is also a soldier who starts fighting police officers and gets really heated, and it ends up her being whisked off to jail as How Can I Live Without You starts playing, and Ronnie gets really upset. French waiter Monsieur Marseille phones up Gemma who comes to pick Ronnie up. It's next morning, Ronnie's really hungover, and they're at a convention, and Ronnie doesn't really want to be there. He doesn't know what these Nightmare on Elm Street movies are, but if he did, he says he'd probably rather not know. And he doesn't seem happy with math cosplayers who are posing as a serial killer. Gemma assures him it's not real, and Ronnie says it's real to them, and that scares me. So they go for a burger, and they're discussing their next mission, which they haven't really been given a lot of details on. All they know is it's called Project Garden. And Vashon's meant to take lead, and as she's banged up, it's up to Gemma to take lead, but she needs Ronnie's head in game. He assures her his head is in game. His head is in the game EA style, and she doesn't really know what he means. So he starts trying to explain when back in the day when you used to play NHL 94 on Sega, and she just ignores him and calls him an idiot. Because he wasn't alive back then, and he looks very sceptical and suspicious. So they go to, for that bit where, let's say, the HQ of the Aylesbury secret government organisation. It's called Pegasus, because why not? It's called fucking Pegasus. So they go to Pegasus HQ, and at Pegasus HQ, they're met by Commander Gear. And he says that the lots and gears have been turning his mind all morning, and that Vashon, unfortunately, is going away for 30 years. Ronnie seems confused and says that trial was awfully quick, and Sergeant Gear tells him, shut the fuck up. And he says, we'll probably see Vashon in an hour or so, which Ronnie has no idea what he's talking about. Bethany seems to. Ronnie doesn't really know what's going on. Everyone is talking as if they're in a movie. He's getting really concerned. So then Monsieur Gear brings our scientist, Dr. Javert, who comes out and says that they've discovered something groundbreaking. They can enter people's dreams. And he says he's going to give the technology to the military. Gemma puts up her hand and says, why is he giving it to the military when he could literally write a ticket or patent it and be rich the rest of his life? Sergeant Gear tells him, shut the fuck up and let man talk. So Javert starts talking about how when his wife passed away, all he wanted to do was be with her again. So he said about making his machine make that possible. Gemma raises her hand and asks him what he's talking about. She's dead. You can't go into a dead person's dream. Sergeant Gear tells her to shut the fuck up and asks for Gervais to continue. Gervais, who's very Sam Neill-like, continues, saying he's done it. He's perfected technology and he needs to test it. And he needs to test it for the best of best. It transpires that Gervais' wife died, but his daughter's still alive. But she's been in coma for 5 years. And the only thing they can ascertain occasionally, she'll say one word. Garden. So Javert concludes that she's being attacked by something in her subconscious, and he needs the military team going and investigate. Gemma at this point starts thinking, this is quite similar to A Nightmare on Elm Street. Javert assures her it's not, but she points out this seems really similar. Eerily similar, and we were just she tells them that they're just at a convention for A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is way too coincidental for them. Sergeant Gear starts telling her to shut the fuck up. Gemma completes the sentence for him, and he clicks his fingers, and 2 military people take Gemma out of there and take her away. He says that Ronnie's in charge of the operation. Ronnie tells him, I'm really hungover. I got dumped by Vashon, who turns out was a mega drug addict, and put 4 police officers in hospital. I'm not mentally equipped for this situation. And Sergeant Gear says that's exactly why he's equipped. Ronnie asks, how does that make any sense? And Sergeant Gear's like, shut the fuck up. You're going on this mission. But you're going on training mission first. And training mission is that they're going to go into Vashon's head and find something out. So Ronnie and his crack team, which includes Gemma, who's come back and is suddenly cooperative. Ronnie's leading team now. which includes Gemma, includes a man named, includes Monsieur Massey, who turns out he's military too. Like, why the fuck not? So they're there, and there's a fourth guy, a man named Alfred, who looks eerily like Robert Englund. A fact that Gemma keeps pointing out, you look like Robert Englund. And Alfred's like, no, I'm not him. He speaks in a terrible, a Dick Van Dyke style accent, and maintains that he's not Rob Englund and he's not Freddy Krueger. But when they all turn round to sort out their tech and turn back, Alfred is literally playing with a Freddy Krueger style glove. And when you ask him what it is, he's like, don't worry about it. So they're getting really... Gemma's like, do you not see what's going on? And Ronnie's like, but I thought I was the one who was meant to be unaware this was a movie. And Gemma's like, shut the fuck up. He's like, that guy's going to cause us trouble down the line. I'm telling you now. Hours time, we're going to have a problem with Alfred. Ronnie asks Gemma if she trusts him, and she says that not really, because you just went out for months and almost got engaged to a woman who was a coke addict and almost murdered half the cops in this town. Ronnie says it's fine, we'll get to it. Monsieur Marseille is quite protective of Alfred and says that if anyone, out of nowhere, he says anyone messes with Alfred, he's going to murder them. He's going to murder them in a very French way. So there's tension. So they go in for Sean's mind to get the item that they need. And the item that they need is a dossier which would give them the location of the Dr. Gervais' daughter. Because apparently Vachon knows where daughter is inside her own subconscious. I don't fucking know. So breaking Vachon's mind, and it's like the start of Inception, but with a coked up soldier named Vachon, who is the head of an international crime organisation and doesn't want to give them shit. Because then they discover that Dr. Javert has tagged along, despite the fact that he wasn't allowed to. He just shows up and says that he's the one who's going to solve this mystery. And then, so, they meet up with Vachon, and Vachon's like, I know what you guys are doing. Please go away. And they won't. And she's like, look, I know why you're here. Because I came up with this plan. What do you think you're going to accomplish? And then matters get worse when she points out that Dr. Javert's wife, Cynthia, is literally standing right there. She walks off and Dr. Gervais follows. And Vachon's like, I don't think you understand what's going on. You're not going to succeed. At which point the lights go out. And when lights go on, Vachon is dead. Inside her own mind. No, not dead. She's mortally wounded. She's been stabbed numerous times. And Gemma's like, that's the exact number of stab wounds correlates to the number of knives on Alfred's glove. And Alfred's like, it's not me. I didn't do it. Despite that his blood is dripping, his glove is dripping his place. I didn't do it. Monsieur Marseille says you can't accuse him without evidence, and if you do, I'll kill you. Ronnie tries to marshal the team and points out that if Vachon dies while they're in her mind, they're going to die too. So they're all trying to figure out a solution to this, and then Dr. Gervais just walks into the dossier and goes, I have the dossier. And they're like, where'd you get it from? He's like, my wife gave it to me. And Gemma's like, yeah, but like, wouldn't that be tension? Will we create a bit of tension? It's like, no, we got to get on the next bit. We got to move. So they leave Vachon's mind. And Vachon's dead as far as we know. So next they go to hospital. And they all walk in tactical gear. And the dream entering device. And they're immediately stopped by Dr. Cornwallis, who just says to them, no. And when you ask why, he's like, you're not coming in the kids' ward. And they beg him, and it's like, you don't understand. I'm not letting you in this unit. This is for sick kids. I don't know any of you. I literally don't. And you're carrying weapons you're not fucking going in. This door is locked. You ain't going through it. So they leave. They leave to let Dr. Gervais sort of situation out. And sit in cafeteria and drink some juice and talk about plot up to this point. About how Vachon dying was very sad. And just as they do that, fucking doors burst down and Dr. Cornwallis is dragging Dr. Gervais across the floor and then proceeds to beat the living shit out of him. Everyone watches as Dr. Phillips, because he's a doctor, he knows where you get hits. He beats the fuck out of Dr. Gervais. And then our team realises they can just go into the dream. So they sneak by and they manage to get into the kids' unit and settle their tech up. And they enter into the dream of little Sophia. I think it's Sophia. I don't fucking know. Her name's Sophia for now. So they go into Sophia's dream. And all this time, Gemma's like, we really should watch out for Alfred. He's blatantly Freddy Krueger. And Ronnie's like, that's a movie. And also, I haven't seen that movie, so don't spoil it for me. And Gemma's begging him to perhaps consider that maybe they actually have been in dream this whole time. And now they're in a dream within dream. And Ronnie points out that's lazy storytelling because you would never know when dreams would stop. So they start into this dream and they find themselves in a garden. And Gemma notes that's the title of moving, right? And fucking Mr. Jean Marseilles and Alfred are like, look, can you stop calling this a movie? It's not a movie. Alfred does it in a way that suggests if it was a movie, he would be nominated for an Academy Award. And also starts talking about his dear departed friend Wes. And Gemma's like, you are literally, what are you? And he's like, oh my name's Alfred. I'm a nice guy. So she's getting really worked up. And Ronnie's like, look, I have to overcome all my baggage. I have to do this. And Gemma's like, you're not even upset Vachon's dead. And Ronnie's like, well, technically she's not dead. And we can save her. It's like, how? Also, like, if she dies in her dream, what the tech was that? Gemma gets really upset and just walks off and goes, I'm going to fucking Disneyland. So Monsieur Marseille, Alfred and Ronnie walk through a garden, a lovely garden. They run into a man named, Joseph. And Joseph's tending garden. And he says to them they shouldn't come here. And when they ask him why, he's like, you shouldn't have come. And they keep asking, he's like, no, why are you here? No. And all this time he's looking at Alfred. He's like, no, get out of here. Or at least we think he's looking at Alfred. And then eventually Monsieur Marseille takes a step forward and Joseph steps back and they're like, what? And he's like, no, you leave me alone. He's like, what the fuck is going on? He's like, who leaves me alone? And they start saying, why are you singling out Marseille? And Joseph's like, look, just start saying, I'm not racist, but I'm just saying. Monsieur Marseille's like, what the fuck is going on? And then he starts realising, oh no. And the other two don't realise. And so I know what's going on. This little kid, this Sophia, she's racist. And they're like, what? She's got a racist subconscious. And Monsieur Marseille's like, why didn't we do any research? I'm the last person who should be here. Because I've already set subconscious. And they're like, he's like, I know it's not my fault. No, she's racist. But this was really a mistake on so many levels. Especially because I was undercover as a waiter. I literally had a job to do as a waiter to crack a crime syndicate. And you put me in this fucking racist little kid's dream. And Joseph keeps saying, look, what if I give you some money? And Sean Marseille's like, go fuck yourself. And Joseph starts crying and then disappears. And ground starts shaking. And everyone's like, oh, fuck. And then Ronnie's like, what? Look. The kid's aware that we're in dream. The subconscious has alerted her. It is now conscious. So ground starts shaking violently. And they see something in distance. A man in the familiar garb with the hat and the face and the gloves and the jumper. and Alfred, they turn around and Alfred's gone, and Ronnie's like, maybe Gemma is right. As Jem comes around the corner, a bunch of stuff from Disneyland goes, no shit, I was like, that is Freddy Krueger, we're in a dream within dream. And Michelle Marseilles just comes out and says, if we're in a dream within dream, why is this dream so racist? And Ron and Gemma look really nervous and go, we don't feel comfortable discussing this. I think we should discuss it, he starts. This is really racist. He's like, I'm out. He takes gear off and disappears. And Gemma and Ron are left and they're like, I don't understand. There's a floor and everything. The sky's turned red, lightning everywhere. And then it suddenly stops and comes happy. Joseph reappears and that's like even just met. So, hello, how are you? Welcome to Sophia's head. And Gemma's like, you racist piece of shit. And Joseph is like, well, don't shout at me. I just want to make Sophia great again. And Gemma's like, I know this is a bad idea. Ronnie's like, what? As Gemma pulls out a machete and stabs Joseph in the gut. Joseph screams, blood gushes everywhere. And Ronnie throws up because it's so disgusting. And Gemma's like, I hate racist people. And she guts Joseph. And Joseph dies, but as he looks at her, he goes, 1, 2, he's coming for you. And then she looks up and there's a bunch of blonde-haired Aryan children jumping rope, singing song, and Gemma's like, oh, fuck. And she looks to the side and she sees in distance Freddy Krueger and he scratches at the air. And then he does his run. He starts running towards them and like, holy shit. Freddy Krueger runs towards them, gets to them, stops, bats up, jumps in the air, does a spin and goes, welcome to the new nightmare, love. Gemma and Ron are like, this is so strange. So they ask Fred what he's doing in Sophia's mind, and Fred tells them they got trapped there. When they say, well, how did you get trapped there? He's like, I'm not the bad guy of this story, but I can take you to him. And Gemma's like, it's Alfred, isn't it? And Fred's like, no, it's not. So Ronnie says, it's Alfred, isn't it? And Fred's like, yes, it is. He's the bad guy, not me. I've never done anything wrong. And Gemma's like, look, if the movies are even partially true, you not only murdered kids, but when they remade it, you actually became paedophile. And Fred's like, no, that wasn't me. That was the other one. That was Rorschach, Jackie L. Haley, Robert Englund, Freddy. I'm a good man. And they're like, well, what's different? And Rob Englund goes, oh, you know, like, there's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yes, well, there's 3 Freddys. There's me, there's him, and there's another one. And you're like, it's Alfred, isn't it? It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not Alfred. Ron said, it's Alfred, isn't it? Yes. Oh, there's 3 of us. Oh, it's so awkward. Whose dream are we in? You're in Sophia's dream. Yes, but clearly this isn't actually real. Because you're a movie character. So whose dream are we in? Whose dream were we originally in? Oh, Alfred's. Why were we in Alfred's dream? We were trying to find him. Why? He's worse than either of us. How can he be worse? You're a murderer. The other one's a murderer and paedophile. How can he be worse? Oh, he's the worst of all of us. How is he worse? Oh, he's a Republican. Gemma's like, oh, for fuck's sake, Ron. He's like, no, I do understand that. Gemma points out, why do you understand that? What is going on? He's like, well, he's a Republican. They're the worst. They're the evilest people. He wants to make... Frey points out that the other one wants to make dreams great again. It's like, that's not anything. Oh. So Gemma says, okay, explain to me how Sophia's messed up in this. She's a racist. Yeah, and she's perfect. She's a perfect patsy. How is she a patsy? And Freddy Krueger, the original, was like, oh, I have to go. Because he looks up and he sees the other Freddy Krueger jacket. Haley's like, oh, I'll fucking kill you. He's like, please, I just want to torture teenagers. Oh, I'll torture them in ways you can't imagine. Oh, look, there's rules. Freddy Krueger is not a paedophile. Oh, well, not your Freddy, because you're weak. Freddy's like, no, it doesn't make me weak. You're literally worse than I ever was. And for no reason. Needlessly. You don't even have a sense of humour. And Jem and Ron here like, what the fuck have we found ourselves in? As Alfred appears and says, is it my dream? Go away. Go down the level. And you're like, what? And Alfred clicks his fingers and our characters move and they appear in Alfred's dream. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? Alfred's dream is essentially an America where Freddy Krueger's president. Gemma and young Freddy's are homeless war veterans who don't remember being Freddy, but one remembers being a murderer and the other remembers being pedophile, but that's all they remember. And they're asked by Gemma and Ronnie when they find tracked down, you guys say you really are the same person. They're like, no, it's slightly different. See, I murder teenagers. He's a pedophile. Again, who will make this movie? So they get into an argument over what's worse, and Gemma and Ronnie are like, what the fuck is going on? And then they look up and they see Monsieur Marseille's there, and Monsieur Marseille is like, really, you found me? Shit, why? And like, look, Sophia's dream, we're not going back there. We know this is a dream now. That was dream within dream. And he's like, really? It's like, because this isn't much better. Look at this shit. And they cut to the TV and there's a Freddy Krueger, Alfred Freddy Krueger on TV with orange hair is talking about how he's going to make dreams great again, and then go, shit, I'm in America. I'm going to make America great again. Also England, because we're in England too. But Marseille's like, it's not better. I would rather hang out with the racist kid subconscious than this fuckhead. And then Alfred appears, and Alfred's like, but we were friends. He's like, you just went on TV and said to me that all black people and all black French people are lazy, ignorant human beings. You know that's not true because we're friends, and you know that's not true because that's racist. Why are you saying it? Because it'll get me elected. This is a dream, mate. It's literally a dream. You don't have to be a racist politician in a dream. You choose to be. And he's like, no. And then points to the other two, why are you here? And they're like, oh, what do you mean? So you're a pedophile, he's a murderer. And Jem's like, we fucking get it. We get there's a difference between two Freddy Kruegers. We don't understand why we're here. We don't know what's going on. This started because we're trying to save Dr. Gervais' kid, who turns out to be a racist. We haven't seen Dr. Gervais in 40 minutes of screen time. What is going on? Ronnie's like, oh, I just want to go home. He's like, I'm just going to go to sleep. Like, no, see, Ron, you have to wake up, get out of a dream. But we don't want you to wake up because we need you. We need to stop this shit. He's like, no, I'm just going to lie down. Don't lie down. Why? Because if you go to sleep in a dream, you'll die. He's like, no, that doesn't make sense. Like, nothing makes fucking sense. This whole story doesn't make any goddamn sense. And Gemma's like, that's it. If this story doesn't make any sense, then the only sense it can make is sense we make. Gemma's like, and Frey's like, what? And she's like, Gemma looks at the sky and goes, reboot. And Frey's stuck getting really scared. No, not that. Reboot. No. The original Frey starts crying, goes, no, look, I only got near a dozen movies. I need more Robert Englund. I can't do cameos on Goldbergs anymore. I can't do it. I won't. I might contact. The other Frey goes, look, I got my shot. I got one shot. And they won't let me take it. They're going to make me a pedophile. Please, don't deny me my shot. And Alfred's like, oh, be fucking person Frey. Wouldn't that be great? Gemma's and all for them in unison like, no, that's a shit idea. And Gemma's like, there's no place like home, there's no place like home, there's no place like home. She clicks her heels together 3 times. And then she wakes up in her bed next to Ronnie. And she's like, is this real life? I guess. Oh. And she goes about her day. And she's like, it's a bit shit, isn't it? Because it's just boring. She's not even a soldier. She's just unemployed and playing on the Xbox all day. Like, for example, she'll call a young kid a stupid cunt. And Ronnie's unemployed, and Fashon is the local drug dealer who waters down supply. And Gemma's like, this isn't real life, is it? And Ronnie's like, no, it is. She's like, but didn't you dream the dream I dreamed? And he's like, I did, but it just seems far-fetched. We watched that movie way too many times. So they go to the real life Freddy convention. And she's like, no, this doesn't make any sense. Why would Freddy Krueger have a convention in Aylesbury? What about Dr. Gervais? What about Sophia? And Ronnie's like, look, it's just dreams don't make sense. He's like, it was like a movie. It's like, well, yeah, but sometimes movies drop plot threads. It's like, it literally, if this was a movie, they dropped the main plot thread for no reason. And now it's just a bunch of shit happening. And she goes, but I can go back there. He's like, how? And she pulls out a switchblade. It's like, please don't. And she's like, no, it's the suicide pact. Ronnie's like, I really don't want to commit suicide. No, it's okay, we'll wake up in dream. And Ronnie's like, the dream was shit. It's like, we'll wake up in better dream. You don't know we'll wake up in better dream. And Gemma looks up and she sees Dr. Gervais there and Sophia, and they wave and go, join us, Gemma. Come play with us forever and ever. And Ronnie, she points to man. Ron's like, there's no one there, Gemma. She's like, no, they're right there. He's like, there's no one fucking there. Then Ronnie looks, and on his side, he sees the 3 Freddys, and they're like, come play with us, Ronnie, forever and ever. And the second Freddy says, we'll make you into a child and we'll play with you forever. And the other 2 are like, look, Freddy Krueger's not a paedophile, okay? He murders teenagers, he's not a paedophile. You're really ruining things, and especially because 2 minutes ago you said you didn't want to be a paedophile anymore. Now you're actually embracing it, and he's like, well, it's all this fucking Freddy, it's all this version Freddy Krueger's got, so I might as well go for it. And the Ronnie's like, do you see them? Gemma's like, no, I see these. She sees the happy option. He's like, Gemma, I literally think they're beckoning you up to heaven and they're beckoning me down below. She's like, what? Down below? She's like, yeah. She's like, what, where Eddie went? She's like, yeah, where Eddie went. They're going to take me down below. And Gemma's like, I think which chances? I really don't. And also, how would you get heaven? You commit suicide. But Gemma's already slit her wrists and she's bleeding out on the sideboard. And Ronnie's like, oh my God. He watches her die, and then he thinks and stops and thinks and goes, I'm probably going to be implicated in her death. So then he takes the wrist blade, slits his wrist, and he dies too. And as they both fall down, the scene changes to an empty graveyard where they died in real life. But they actually died in dream, because it turns out Switchblade was Freddy Krueger. Freddy laughs. And then Shot pulls up and reveals Nancy, Heather Lancombe's character from the movie. She's there. She shakes her head and goes, you won again, Freddy. And Freddy goes, I'm going to keep winning. I'll always win. Because I'm devil and I'm dark and you're good. I'm devil, you're an angel. And Nancy goes, it only ends once, Freddy. Effing up demands progress. And Freddy's like, no, progress isn't being a paedophile. Nancy laughs and goes, oh, Freddy. She puts her hand round shoulders. He puts his arm round hers. And they walk off together into the sunset. The eternal struggle marches on. Nancy versus Freddy. Right. I'm going to review this in a second, because that was not how I intended the story to go. But that's how it went. So if you bear with me a few seconds, and then I'll be back to do the review of the fictional movie recap. So yeah, The Guard and the Tale of Three Freddys. That kind of went places I wasn't expecting, but I think we can all agree a scene of the the two cinematic Freddy Kruegers arguing over the rules of being Freddy, and the original saying they have one rule, just one, which is Freddy Krueger is not a paedophile. It's definitely an interesting way of doing a sequel. I imagine Dr. Venge, Sophia were going to be bigger characters, but then the idea of Sophia being a racist, and Alfred hiding in her dream, and Alfred also being racist, and them accusing Alfred of being Freddy Krueger, and him denying it, despite the fact that he's obviously one of the Freddys, and a dream within dream, and finding out it was a dream within dream within dream, and at the end, it might have been dream within dream within dream within dream, because Freddy and Nancy were there, and they beckoning people off to heaven or hell, and apparently Freddy was posing as a switchblade. I don't know, but that's about fun, this particular feature, and it's going to be a feature on more episodes next year. I don't think it's good as the last one. I don't think anything's going to top the madness of Once Upon a Time on Brett Street, but I thought as like a season finale one that was quite good. Got 32 minutes out of it, and I think there's definitely enough there for a 9-minute movie. So that was good, and also it's fun to put out there, because I've had that idea for ages, but I never had time to write it as a script, so it's finding some way to put out online, and hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm just going to take a quick break now, and then I will go over some of the stuff that we'll be expecting in the new series, so I'll catch you in just a second. Yeah, so 2019 then, this podcast is obviously changing to Friday Night Fright, and what that means in terms of content is that, in theory, each week you're going to get me doing a live recap of an episode of Hannibal TV show, and then I'm going to be doing half of a movie recap each week. The movie recap's going to be spread out over 2 weeks, sometimes more. Roughly speaking, they'll be about half an hour, 45 minutes in length each. I'm doing it that way because I find a lot of times with movies I can do a fun sort of recap of it, but I find doing a whole movie each week can be quite tiring on top of other stuff. And I really want to do Hannibal recaps, but I don't want them to be at the expense of movies, so this is going to make movie stuff feel more fun, to have more time to do it, hopefully. So I'm going to start with Hannibal Season 1, so that's going to take us through to the first podcast special of the year, which is, I need to check. It's Slasher Mania. That's going to be first podcast special. That's going to be in March or April. I'm not sure exactly when yet. That's going to be a classic slasher movie, I guess. It's going to be good because I love slasher movies. And then in June, it's going to be the Roulette Wheel of Death, I think. Which is going to be, I'm going to have 6 movies to choose from. And I'm going to randomly use the randomizer to select one. And then I'll record that live on air. So that'll be fun. I mean, I'll probably do that in the kickoff show the week of Friday before it. And then do a little bit on each movie. And then at the end of it, I'll a little bit of description, a little bit of what I think the movie's going to entail. And then at the end of that little bit, I'll do that little wheel turn thing. New features next year. If it works out, I've buzzed a friend on occasion to provide updates on her own work. If timing works out, that's going to be a feature every now and again. There's going to be bottle episodes and limitless episodes, I think, but I might merge them with the weekly one because I'm hoping to stick to one episode a week as much as possible. Which incidentally is why things like special kick-off shows and post-shows are being done as episodes rather than specials, because I think it's more honest, you know. And also there's only so much content you can take at one time. Another feature I'm going to be adding is porn or movie, which is going to be me guessing whether it's a movie or porn. Sometimes the line blurs a bit. And yeah, apart from that, I mean, I've got lots of ideas for the future. I want to be a King's Place comedy thing at some point, because that'd be a perfect place to make up a movie. Because roughly time length and do a little Q&A. I want to get to Abattoir in Aberystwyth, which is the coolest horror festival. And eventually the Aylesbury one. Don't know if that'll happen this year, but that's a long-term goal. More sponsorship and just better content, really. And at the same time, announcing here, I am going to try and make my own movie next year. So there'll be some updates on this podcast about that on occasion, which I'm very pumped about because I don't think it's fair. They say I want to make movies. It's not why I'm doing this podcast, by the way. I'm doing this podcast because I love talking about movies and I love interacting with people. There's going to be no comic book reviews on this podcast from now on. They switch over to Month Night Crisis, which is my own comic book one, which will be launching on New Year's Day. And henceforth, or New Year's Eve, I don't know. Well, New Year's Eve, that's it. So yeah, this is going to be horror-based stuff, like movies and TV, and occasionally a bit of news. And hopefully, if it works out, I'd like to do a few interviews this year too. I think they can make good episodes of the show. Really, I just want to make season 2 better than season 1. I've really enjoyed season 1, but it's been great, but I think I can do a lot better in season 2. I want to thank everyone for tuning in over this year. It's been an amazing year, and this is the last episode Friday Night Shudder ever, and the next episode, the first episode Friday Night Fright will go up next week, and will be a continuation, numbers wise, but that'll be stuff season 2. But season 1's been great. It's been one of the best things in my life over the last couple of months, and I cannot wait to see it grow next year. I'd like to say thanks again to Shudder for all of their support, and I wish them way going in future. I'd like to thank everyone who tuned in, the friends who promoted this, and the 799 hits, which is brilliant. The advice from the OSW guys. I'd also like to thank the guys at the Downturn Podcast for liking a bunch of tweets. Now we're talking podcasts being flat bros. And just really anyone who's supported this at any point, because you don't have to support shit, and I really appreciate it. We're moving on bigger and better things next year. This is going to be the year of Friday Night Fright. So for me at Friday Night Shudder, signing off, and I will see you next week, Friday Night Fright. And remember, life is beautiful.